Ba, ba, ba. Where is it? Hang on. Yeah, buddy. Good morning. It's official. I am part of the greatest group of podcasters in the world. Officially. In the CrossFit world. Hope you're having a lovely day. Obviously, it's it'll be very early in the morning over in America land. See the light bouncing off me. Hello, Jody. Hope you're well. Bacon. I am currently obsessed, Jody, with these. To my UK friends or British friends, Tesco's Finest. These are so damn good. And the sweetness you get is from honey. But yeah, oh my God, I'm obsessed with them. I'm having like a bag every day. Hello, Sean. But it is eat meats, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. So, 7:05. Oh, okay. Not too early then. I apologize profusely for having to push this show back for 5 minutes. I was stuck at the pool. God, I need a shave. Watch my kids swimming, and it ran over. And Katie's 27 weeks pregnant now, so she wanted to swim. So she jumped in and went mad. She's obviously a very good swimmer. At the pool, right, the guy that's head of swimming on the island, Lee, he had an underwater camera on a stick thing. What's it called? Selfie stick, I suppose. And he was coaching one of the guys at the swimming team. And he was going along with him with his phone, not a phone, but an underwater camera, going along. And then there's a TV at the end of the pool, and they relayed the video, and he was just sat in his rest, and he was watching his underwater swim technique on the telly. Hello, Craig. Yeah, I know. Well, I opened this about 5 minutes ago, and I've had like nearly half the pack, Jody. Insane. All right, Kenneth. Hope you're well. But yeah, it's really cool watching it. It's nice to see technology in other sports, and this is one of the things that I want to talk about is the pollination of ideas, technology, coaching tips, conditioning pieces, strength pieces from other sports into CrossFit. Is there no sports club teams in the island or just one big referred to as on it? So great question, really good question. Now, because for some of you this will be interesting, some of you it'll be really boring. So hold fire if you're bored by it. Where we are in the on the Isle of Man, we can't represent ourselves internationally at many events. We have to feed into England. We have an agreement. Certain sports we feed through into the Northwest Division of England. So if you get a really good Manx swimmer, for example, they will compete, obviously, and they can be part of the national squad, but the national squad is a club. So Sean, absolutely right. Certain sports like athletics and swimming, you are a club as well as representing the island. In other sports like weightlifting, it's the other way around. Good morning, friggin' morning, mate. That reminds me quickly. I need to write notes, don't I? Hang on a minute. I got all my tax return stuff here. I did my tax return, by the way. So well done, me. So there we go. That'll make sense in a bit, sir. So yeah, so certain sports, but however, weightlifting, we represent ourselves. Now, this is where it gets even more complicated, and Sean will know about this. When it comes to the Commonwealth Games, the Isle of Man can represent itself. So the Commonwealth Games, we have a Manx squad that goes and competes against England, against Scotland, against Wales, against Canada, against Australia, India, all the Commonwealth countries. However, when it comes to the Olympics, we fall under Great Britain, so we can't represent ourselves. So we have to feed through into England, into Britain. It's a funny old system. And Sean, yeah, you're absolutely right. So swimming, they are a club and they represent the nation of the Isle of Man at the level they can, which is predominantly the Commonwealth Games. However, every now and again, we will get athletes like Mark Cavendish, like Sarah Webster, like Yasmin Ingham. Like there's many athletes that have done this that are world class. Morning, Spear and Kelly. I'm assuming it's Spear. Cav is one example where he represented obviously GB at the Olympics, but because cycling or road cycling, that stuff that he does is teams on tour, it doesn't really matter about being a nationality. However, at the Olympic level, he fed from the Isle of Man into the British squad. Yasmin Ingham. All right, Yash, how you doing, boy? Haven't seen your name for a while. Yeah, Yasmin Ingham is a horse rider, and she represented GB. She was the world champ 2024, and she got selected as the reserve spot for the Olympics in Paris. She didn't actually compete. Equestrianism is a really weird one, though, because you can compete. Like a lot of them are well into their 60s that compete. Yeah. I just listened now. Cool. Nice. Well, feel free to comment and as much as you want, Yash. Your opinion is appreciated. I hope so. The World Police and Fire Games until I played Man of Isle team in basketball. We won, but they were okay. Do you know what? I didn't even fucking know we had a basket. I know we have a female netball. We're actually quite good at netball on the island compared to other sports. So good, excellent. Oh yes, feel free to join in the festivities. We're at the pool, and my 6-year-old boy, 8-year-old daughter, this old guy comes into the change rooms, and we say hello, and I said hello, sir, because at school I said I was like, we had to say sir and miss. It's just how we address the teachers. I don't know how it is over yonder. But it's a rare thing nowadays for me to hear kids address adults as sir and miss. Don't really hear that often. Good morning, Joseph. I trust you're well. What happened to your name? Because didn't you have OnlyFans in the middle? But yeah, and I talked to them on the way home just a minute ago about referring to men as sir and ladies as miss or ma'am. And they said, why? And I said, well, it's a form of respect. And I definitely have noticed that the last few years, I've really started to appreciate and understand how you address people is quite important. And it's just, it rolls off the tongue now for me. Morning, sir. Whenever I see another man, he could be a 25-year-old man, could be a 70-year-old man. Whenever I see another man at the gym, at the pool, in the shop, whatever, I'll say, good morning, sir. It's just what I say. And I've said to the kids, try and get used to saying it. It's a demonstration of respect, and you will get the mutual respect of adults if you address them that way. Because up until now, they just say good morning or hello, but they don't actually attach anything if they don't know the name, because I don't expect them to know the names of every adult in their life. But I guess it's a social status thing, just like you would call coach. When they go to jiu-jitsu, they call them, coach. When they're at the gym, they call the coach. Yeah, it just rolls off the tongue. So it's so easy to do. And in the UK, mate is one thing that we say a lot. It's a lot more familiar. And the thing is with that, yeah, sir and ma'am, yeah. So she's quite, yeah, yeah. It's weird that, isn't it? I'm what, 40, and if I was to see teachers from when I was at school, I would say sir or ma'am. That's just how I knew them. That was their name. I didn't say like Mr. Stewart. I would say sir. So it just sort of works. Auntie or uncle, yeah. um, and I never really, it's only recently that I've really truly understood that there's there is a need for that in society. There is a need to make sure that we understand and respect people's status in that respect, just like we call a doctor or Mister when they go up, or Miss, coach, sir and ma'am. It's a sign of respect, and it's only recently. So I've said to my kids, try to get used to saying that. It's not very often you see or hear kids do that, and I said to them, try. So we'll see how that goes. They're usually quite good at addressing people. So one thing my parents were really hot on with me was, as growing up, was manners, being polite. Thing is, the Brits do that a little bit to the nth degree. I don't know the same coach, I won't lie. Yeah. I think it's overplayed quite a lot, but in certain environments, it's just the word. Like jiu-jitsu, it's coach. At the gym, if someone walks in, I don't expect members at the gym to call me coach. Every now and again they do it, and I'm like, oh, that's me. I don't necessarily demand people call me coach, if you know what I mean. But when they do, it's like, okay, cool. Better than trainer, isn't it? I guess. But yeah, all good, all fun this morning. Trained this morning early. Everything was sir, yes sir. Yeah, sir, yes sir. So went in this morning 6 to 8 and coached, or trained, personal trained, PT'd. And then I did a lovely session. It took about an hour and a half, which is unlikely for me. I still call my coach when I see them. That's 20. Yeah. I suppose it's just what you get used to, isn't it? But it's nice to know that people acknowledge, and this, I guess this is it. It's the role in society, isn't it? That we attach to the word sir or ma'am. It gives you a certain standing, a sign of respect to show that you are part of our system and our way of life, I guess. Here's some respect for you. Oh God, no. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that is just so. Just yeah, you've got the emoji damn right there. But again, Sean, I think a lot of it's cultural as well, isn't it? Like there's a lot of stuff that we see from the US, that I get. It could be cliche over there. It could be from Hollywood. It could be a load of bullshit. It could be not true. But we, in film and online and in media and all that kind of stuff, and it could be just a legacy thing. It's the kind of like, yeah, all right, come on, and high fives and like chest bumps and like all that kind of stuff. Brits really, like historically anyway, we really shy away from that. It's not normal for if a British person does that, you think something's really wrong with them. You know, something's up. They're up to something. However, within our corner of the fitness industry and CrossFit, because it's so entrenched in Americana, when we hear it, it's not the end of the world. However, if you went to a Globo gym and you saw people high-fiving, you'd get so many stares from people thinking, what is going on here? This is so awkward. Like we've got this like different paradigm of what's acceptable socially. But yeah, um, yeah. If you refer to yourself as like if in Britain, if you said, "Hi, I'm my name's Jake, you can call me Coach," people would think this guy's an utter bellend. Whereas if I heard an American say that, I wouldn't think twice, because you understand that culturally it's part of what is just normal. And that was initially anyway. I guess that's the tricky bit for people that aren't in the US when they watch a lot of the CrossFit media, is that we have to have this filter on of, right, that's okay over there, therefore it's okay. Whereas Bellend, yeah. Is that not a thing? It means a helmet. But like a great example, and without going into the fucking whatsits and fucking drama of it all, Laura Horvath, her personality and her way with words and her really dry humor, that's very typical over here. And so when people don't see it or don't understand it, and I know it's gone off on different avenues of late, but that kind of personality is very, very common. And I can totally see why someone like her, because I'm partially that way as well. And I've got a lot of friends that are dry and aren't so glitzy and hell yeah and high fives. 99% of the people that I know are not like that. But I can totally see why she wouldn't be able to mix and get on with and be part of that group of people that are like that at the games or internationally. It's a very different, very unique culture in the US, I think. And it has spread through CrossFit. I think CrossFit has certainly, yeah, 80% of us are all, yeah. For the most part, I think CrossFit has encouraged, let's say, that kind of personality and that kind of exuberance and that kind of congratulatory sort of presence within people outside of the US. It's encouraged us to be more like that. But we will only do that so far. Like, look at Tia Toomey. She is your archetypal Australian fucking hard nut. Like that's what Australians are like. I've got Australian family, cousins. Esprit de corps, yeah. And we've talked about this before. It's very. I think it all bleeds through from that revolutionary American dream spirit. It's very unique, as you all know, and it's very different from what we've got used to, I guess. Warring factions and families that feud for thousands of years, and casting fucking within society, and it's a very, very different way of life, and this is why I'm very fortunate. I'm very proud to be in CrossFit because of that. I think it brings an element of drop your guard a little bit, because we're all very guarded. We're all, Brits especially, in the gym, it's very, even something like the shirts off in the gym thing. It takes most people in Britain, especially, a long time to get used to that concept. Not only because of the weather, but it's just we're very reserved by nature, and it's really cool that we've got this force, this thing that has sort of asked us to question that and to get used to the idea of being a bit more free spirited with our attitude towards things. It's definitely helped, and a lot of the people that I know within CrossFit that have stuck with it and over the years have definitely benefited from that shift in perspective, I guess you'd call it. I certainly have. It's definitely made a difference to the way that I do things, and you know, even the things like coaching style. I think the Brits are very matter of fact and formal and dry, and you know, as a coach initially, like with weightlifting and powerlifting, and then moving into CrossFit and in sport, organized sport, you know, with national governing bodies, there's so many restrictions, there's a lot of red tape, there's a lot of bureaucracy, there's a lot of formal kind of systems you've got to play part of. If someone hits a lift or does a time, or you know, it performs well, it's very matter of fact. It's very, okay, you've done your job. We don't really celebrate it. We don't really do that thing. Whereas you compare it to the American sports, and I'll include CrossFit in that. So NFL, NHL, MLS, MLB, and CrossFit. Let's go with those ones. You know, it's touchdown, fireworks, cheerleaders, fucking the whole thing. Adverts come up. It's all ah. Whereas you compare it to like rugby, you get a whistle. When you get a try, it'll be a whistle, and then you might get a fucking yay if it's a really good fucking try. But that's it. It's not like it's not. You don't get a flyover every time someone gets a fucking throw. But I can see the benefit for that. I can see it. It's just culturally, it's a very different thing, and CrossFit has introduced that to me as a coaching style. You know, I'm not saying I'm celebrating all the time, and I honestly don't think I've ever high-fived someone in a gym. Fist bumps and shaking hands, but other than that, it's different. That's not to say you don't see it at all, but yeah, we're working on it, and you know, it's okay to be different culturally, but as long as we're respectful that other cultures have different ways of doing the same thing that we do. If Tia Toomey and Shane, good morning, Megan. If Tia Toomey and Shane were forced to be American style and be Americanized in their way, I don't think Tia would be who she is. Make hugs and handshakes, Greg. Yeah. I don't hug though. Yeah, just don't make it awkward. Yeah. It's funny that the birthday that I went to the other day, the 30th birthday, I wasn't drinking as usual. The guy, Kev, whose birthday it was, is Brazilian. And he is so touchy, like feely. He's very huggy. And after his 21 shots that he had in 2.5 hours, he was very huggy. And I cannot stand hugs. Like, I'm very like, meh, get away from me. Barely hug my wife, to be honest. So yeah, as soon as people do it to me, I'm like, I just walk away. So at the risk of someone doing that and getting touchy feely, if someone does something well, I'll say good job, and then I walk away. Just in case they get the urge to try and fucking hug me. Which they don't once they know me. That's really true. It made me a lot more free spirit and notice the comparison to my friends who are true Dubliners, but Gaelic Formula Pint. Yeah, exactly. It has, and the culture that we brought. Yeah, exactly. It does. It has played a part, and I think So we're going, Jon and I are going to Coaches Congress, and Steve's coming along as well. There's loads of people coming to Coaches Congress at Twickenham on the weekend. And, you know, Rich is there with Facundo, but Rory McKernan he's going. And I've got my sheet here that I've written. Do you like this? A bit of prep work. Rory is day 2. So Rory's topic is affiliates' role in the future of CrossFit, which is really, really cool. And there was one. Austin Maliolo is talking about what we've learned from CrossFit over the last year. So it's going to be a really cool experience. I'm going to find out a lot. Definitely British. Yeah, let's don't do the whole hug thing. That is a 30-second high in the gym after PR would be weird. Hug, yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, just very, very. You don't give daps. I don't know what a dap is. Someone tell me what a dap is. Stone Cold Jake. What about? Yeah. That's fine. It's got a little bit of a squeeze there. What is a day? My 12-year-old said if I cut his hair low, he will get a dap. Yeah. What is that? Yeah. He will get dapped. If I cut his hair, I'll get that. Yeah. What is that? Is that like a thing? Jeffro knows. Jeffro's in touch. He knows what he's on about. But yeah, that's the thing. So and maybe that was some of the benefit of the behind the scenes, you know, because away from the lanes, away from the race of CrossFit. So once you're in 3, 2, 1, go. Away from the actual fitness racing, the athletes are quite reserved people, are very insular, are very introspective. And when on the behind the scenes, it was very apparent that they weren't into the glam. This is obviously yesteryear, so it might not be true today, but I would have thought so. When Siobhan interviews them, you can tell they're not that the fireworks, the show, the flyovers, all the glammy bits. It's not necessarily who they are. It's what happens when they're at the sport. So when we had the behind the scenes, it was actually seeing the athletes for who they are, not what they're doing when they're competing. It's all clearly behind the scenes. So I think that was what gave it its massive appeal globally. It was away from all of the blah, which was really cool. And I enjoy that part of the sport, getting to know the people behind it. Speaking of which, on Glinton Things channel on Thursday at 6 p.m. our time. So it's currently 12:30. So 5.5 hours from now, wherever you are. We've got Patrick Vellner coming on. And for as long as I've been interested in CrossFit at this, from a sports side of things, he's been a mainstay. He's been the guy that's always been there. And he's coming to Rogue, obviously, next month. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him compete, because there's something magical about watching him compete and trying to catch up from that first workout every year. Yeah, I think you're right there, Kenneth. I think it does humanize them, and we get to see them away from the show. It's just like if you saw, well, going back to what we talked about earlier, if you see a teacher on a Saturday afternoon shopping with their family, it's like, oh, you're a normal person, but I only know you from teaching and being in the in the limelight, in the spotlight. It's very odd. It's an odd feeling when you do that, and we want to be able to associate ourselves with them because we all do this thing called CrossFit, and it's really cool. Really cool that we have that. Years. I just found out the younger people's terminology here. It means to get tapped on the back of the head. All right, a bit different there. Yeah, it's the circus. For me, the sport is circus. It comes to town once a year, maybe twice if you're lucky. And you see them performing, but you don't see the real them. It'd be like seeing the bearded lady and talking to her and realizing it's not a real beard. I was doing that. That's cool. That's fine. That's fine. Same with you, Joseph. It's not a mandatory requirement. You don't have to watch. So it's but yeah, he's for me, he's one of the, at the sport level, he's one of the best ambassadors the sport's had. Consistency, high performing, moves well. He was not the first, but he was that big mainstay, bigger guy. All the other guys have been small, and he's obviously the vanilla gorilla. But yeah, I like him, the way that he talks about things, his articulation. But yeah, I just respect him as a person from what I've seen and what I've absorbed over the years. Going through those 3 phases of swathes of athletes coming through. Oh, thank you, Joseph. We see my wife's students at the beach. Yeah, very odd. He lost me over last week. Yeah, but the thing is with that is, what's the biblical quote? You'll correct me on this, Kenneth. Let he who's without sin cast the first stone. Something like that. I think it's very easy, and I'm guilty of this 100%. We're all guilty of this to some degree. It's very easy to see public decisions being made, and cast aside people based on something that they don't necessarily have the same viewpoint or action as what we've done. It's very easy to do that, especially when they're in the public eye. It's very easy to just slap a label and go, no, don't like you. And again, I'm very guilty of this over the years. I've done it a lot, especially with people that I've known in my real life as well. But having kids did a couple of things. This is Joe Rogan quote from years ago was, as soon as he had kids, he realized adults were just children that got older. And as soon as you start seeing adults as kids that just got older or aged, that's first thing. I'm like, oh, you're not actually an adult. You're just a child that got older, that learned how to do things. That's firstly. But secondly, I've really tried to divorce if I like someone or not away from their opinions and stuff. Now, actions is different. Actions is different. But an opinion is something different. And I was very guilty of doing that. Probably up until I had kids. Well, way into having had kids, to be honest. So probably 3, 4, 5 years. Just because someone's opinions or ideologies are different from mine, that does not give me the basis to dislike someone for who they are. Because someone's opinions can change. You can change your opinions. They're not you. They don't define you, your opinion and how you look at something. Your actions do. And we say it all the time. Actions speak louder than words. Just because opinion is just a word, isn't it? It's just words that people tell themselves and then tell others. That's what an opinion is, until it's an action. So, and we reward people for good action. If you decide the best action is to get up early and go to the gym, or to do the 5 a.m. squat club, you've made a really good action there, and I commend you for it. If you made a bad decision and your action was worse or bad, that's different to having an opinion. It's like saying someone's opinion is that getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to work out is wrong because you can't possibly train at that time in the morning. That's their opinion. Doesn't mean I don't like them. So when it comes to the public eye, when people in the public eye have an opinion on things, it became very easy for me to attach them to their other opinion, because that's all I had on them. I only had their opinions to go by. But as soon as you start to divorce opinion from action, it's easier to see the best in people, and glass houses and all that. So I'm willing to give people a chance about actions over opinion. Because let's face it, if we all had the same opinions on shit, life would be well boring. And that is tyranny. But yeah, my inner child is going, isn't he always, Grant? Isn't he always? That makes sense. Or someone else can play. Yeah, exactly. Playground. Yeah, precisely. Yeah, no. But yeah, so Vellner, back to Vellner. That was the point, wasn't it? I don't, rightly or wrongly, I've tended to stay away from listening into opinions and about the sport and what this, that, and the other. I was saying this to someone yesterday. It might be a really bad analogy, but it makes sense in my head. I think it's because I was actually in a shop when I said this. I'm not interested in the dress that my wife's wearing. I'm interested in how it was made, the factory. Like, I want to know who made it. I want to know what textiles was used. I want to know what material was used. I want to know, like, what country it's made in. I'm more interested in the nuts and bolts and the mechanical side of stuff rather than the end result and the dress itself looking glamorous. And I'm the same with CrossFit. I want to know the affiliate someone's at. I want to know what motivated them to train. I want to know what their worst movement is, how they program. I want to know what culture and community they're part of, like what's their favorite part of CrossFit. That's all the stuff that I find really interesting. The sport's cool, but that's the dress. That's that glamorous dress on the red carpet at the Oscars. Like, it's not the bit that I'm necessarily interested in that much. But not to say I'm not interested in it. I won't watch it and listen to it. But if there's ever drama or opinions or whatever around the sport, it doesn't really interest me. I'll leave it and I'll just move on to the next thing. But I know that I'm in a massive minority there. I know that the overwhelming majority of people that watch CrossFit and are involved in our space are completely obsessed with the sport, and it's what's driven the media for the last 20 years. So I get it. I get it. And it's a very, very necessary part of what we do. I spoke to this with Andy last week on this, on Thursday, sorry. And what a guy that guy is, eh? He's the country manager for UK and Ireland, and he's territory manager for a lot of the British overseas stations, including Antarctica. So he's the regional manager for the continent of Antarctica. um, which is really, really cool. But yeah, I've really enjoyed my guests, over the last couple of months. Um, Obviously, Daniel Chaffee kicked it off around Easter time when he came on. Um, and I don't think there's anyone more senior to be able to talk about affiliates and the role they do. Had Carl Stedman on, who was the UK country manager, is now at Metfix, who is also an affiliate for CrossFit up in Scotland, who's was in the role for many years, L4 seminar staff, like insanely knowledgeable guy. I had Gareth on, who's part of CrossFit UK, who's also an affiliate owner, who's, insanely good at his job and very knowledgeable. Ed Morrison, who's the Australian regional manager, covers a lot of the world in terms of Africa, Middle East, China. So he looks after a lot of territory. And yeah, Andy the other day, who's the current UK country manager. So I've spoken to quite a lot of the CrossFit staff around the country. And then obviously Jon and I had Facundo on a little while ago with his opinions. And it's really cool to understand different takes on everything. And this is why I'm really, really looking forward to Coaches Congress, because it's not, for what you know about Coaches Congress, there's one, I think it's been on their social media. So I think this will be cool. And Henrik mentioned it when he was on the show. They are looking to do an American one. And I think that he said on the show, I could be really wrong here, I think he said New York. Now, guys, if Coaches Congress comes to the US, do everything that you can to go. It's not just how to coach. It's everything. And it's not just CrossFit. And this is one big part of why I feel really blessed with my experience outside of CrossFit. There's so much energy, information, inspiration, systems, coaching methods, knowledge that is outside of CrossFit that we have access to, that we can draw into our gyms and into CrossFit. British weightlifting are talking. You've got British powerlifting there. You've got all these brands and vendors that are outside of CrossFit coming. It's about coaching in general. It's not just how to coach CrossFit. But the speakers, on the Saturday, we've got Chris Cooper from Two Brain. We've got Christy Novak from Mayhem. Got Austin Maliolo from Mayhem. Got Stam Stacey from Motivational Interviewing. So talking about how to interview for your coaches and also how to be a coach that's being interviewed. Got Oscar and Kale from Coaching Gap, which is about how to upscale and upskill your coaches and how to get them from A to Z in terms of, really educating them. On the Sunday, Annie Thorsdotter's there doing a Q&A. Rory McKernan is there talking about the affiliates role for the future of CrossFit. Clayton Herbert from the Athlete Brand Playbook talking about how to create magnetic brand experiences. You've got Fronin and Facundo doing an hour-long Q&A. And that is just stage one. You've got stage two as well. You've got the vendor stage as well. The brands are going to be talking. It is a monumental experience. There's a gym there on the gym floor where you're doing seminars and workouts with the Mayhem guys. You've got a whole vendor village. Velites are going to be there. It's just massive and it's so affordable. Henrik and Heather have done such a decent job of making it accessible and affordable. So if it comes anywhere near where you are, get yourself booked on. It is such an incredible experience. Anyway, Jon and I are going and we are going to absorb every single minute of being there because that is what we do for a living. Our profession is coaching across the board. And I don't only coach CrossFit, I coach powerlifting and weightlifting as well, and High Rocks, if you count that as a different entity. And I do personal training a lot, and I online program. All of that feeds into a bigger picture of coaching, not just coaching WODs 60-minute sessions where you've got a CrossFit session going on. And I think many people could do, especially in the CrossFit world. One thing I have observed is that, ironically, a lot of the people in our industry, in our corner of the industry, are specialized in CrossFit. So they're specialists in CrossFit. They're coaching. They are specializing in generalizing. And I think if you're missing out if you don't do speciality stuff, which is why the speciality courses were so good for CrossFit. And again, I do like to refer people to powerlifting and weightlifting competitions. You can do them at any age. They've got masters divisions all the way up to 80 years old and older. There's a 90-year-old that snatched like 35 kilos the other day. That there's so much opportunity to learn and to experience different ways of and periodization and cycling through, through strength training. You can embrace that and incorporate it into your programming if you want. There's so much out there away from specializing in being generalist. That's confusing. Wouldn't the best generalist just be a specialist in everything? Yeah, but the thing is, they aren't. They're not specializing in anything. Most CrossFit coaches in CrossFit gyms now have only coached CrossFit, and they've only coached back squats in relative terms for CrossFit. They haven't coached back squats as part of SBD for powerlifting, where you get the speciality coaching and cueing and how to move and mechanics. How many CrossFit coaches have heard of Louis Simmons? How many of them have done conjugate? How many coaches that run barbell sessions at CrossFit gyms across the world have heard of the Russian squat cycle? How many of them know the difference between know that you don't call it a squat snatch? It's just a snatch with weightlifting. There's so much, like the running, like Chris Henshaw, like with the endurance side of things. There was so many, and I know, Adam, that you were from back in the day when the speciality courses were being run and operated. They were very, very good. Isn't that the whole idea of subject matter experts and specialists? Yeah, that's the thing, Adam. It's not a thing anymore. No one's doing that. No one's going on the courses. That no one. You remember when CrossFit football, the football seminar was on? That's not a thing anymore because Wellborn went. No one's doing it. And I'll be honest, I'm okay with it so long as the continued education piece is taken on by the affiliate owners and the coaches, and they go away and do them. Yeah, so did I. The CrossFit gymnastics course. How awesome was that? And Grant, you don't have to have an L1 to go on the gymnastics course. You don't have to have the L1 to qualify for it. So Grant, you can go on the CrossFit gymnastics course. I think it's cheaper than the L1. I think it was like $500, $600 at the time. But yeah, you can learn about how CrossFit applies the methodology and the movement standards to our level of gymnastics. Whereas the other option would be in Britain would be to go to the British gymnastics coaching courses to learn how to do pure gymnastics from a calisthenic, from a proprioception, from a sports side of stuff. And as a coach, if you walk into a typical CrossFit gym globally now and ask your typical coach in there, but I mean, awesome. How good was that? They're nowhere near it anymore. So I can only talk from a British perspective here on this one. Was in 2013, I did the British weightlifting level 1 and level 2 so that I could open my club. And I had a history of weightlifting anyway. 2014, I did the CrossFit weightlifting and that was in Manchester, and it was with Bo Bergner, and Sophie. I think they got married in the end, the Irish lady. But it was completely different. The emphasis, the movements, the Bergner warm up, everything was done very differently. But what I learned on the British British weightlifting thing course was how to effectively specialize for weightlifting, how to program, how to run cycling through the year, how to get people to competition for weightlifting, what standards were expected. Because obviously CrossFit standards and weightlifting standards at the sport are very different. When you say weightlifting is the sport of weightlifting, but yeah, you can call it Olympic lifting. But weightlifting is done obviously outside of the Olympics, Grant. So it's only a problem for you because SBD, squat, bench, and deadlift is powerlifting. So powerlifting, the sport of powerlifting is SBD. The sport of weightlifting is snatch and clean and jerk. If you do it at the Olympics, it's the Olympic lifts, Olympic weightlifting. If you go to the IWF World Champs, which are in Denmark this weekend, or Norway, sorry. If you're at the World Champs, the IWF Champs, what I should have been with an athlete, but they had to pull out. I'm at the International Weightlifting Federation World Championships. It's not at the Olympics. It's weightlifting. So it's, but again, powerlifting, when I did the British powerlifting course, I learned, the guys that taught my course, they couldn't demonstrate anything. And I'll tell you why they couldn't demonstrate anything, because they were all in their 80s. There was 3 coaches there from fucking 1950s. One of them was a Geordie. That won't mean anything to you guys. He's from Newcastle. Really thick Geordie accent. But it was all verbal. They were sat there and they're telling these stories and talking about how to cycle throughout the year and how periodization works and how brute force is applied and all the mechanics around the body and how to adjust. And it was all, and then we'd break out and go over and they would sit down with their walking fucking sticks and they would tell us cues verbally. And they would tell stories about Bill Kazmaier coming to train like with them in the gym. And they would pull out pictures, photo albums of them, like yellowed fucking sun-dyed bloody photo albums of them lifting in the 70s and the 60s. And the amount of fucking knowledge that was absorbed over those weekends, learning from these guys. 2 of them are dead now. One of them's hanging on by a thread. But the amount of fucking wisdom and knowledge that I got from those hyper specialized courses from the actual sport, not CrossFit speciality courses, was that I understood it in its purest form, what the sport is after. You can then withdraw and depurify it. You can water it down a little bit to adjust for generalists, but you're better off doing that than you are going the other way round. And I think it's really apparent to me that we've got coaches now that specialize in generalists, but they lack the speciality knowledge. And they know how to write an AMRAP. They know how to cycle through Metcons. They know how to apply a 5x5. They know how to do a 2K row. They know how to do that. But how many of them have gone on the US rowing coaching courses? How many of them know how to adjust the C2 rower and, I can calibrate it? How many know about strokes per minute? How many know about the wattage? How many know about like how to train for a 2K trial? Not many, I wouldn't have thought. But all of that is available. What's this? Local powerlifting conference Sunday. Dr. Strain from time those heavy. Oh, really? I'll focus on the BD, yeah. So, Sabir, have you ever done a bench only comp? They're quite fun. You can just sit out the squat, rack up some bench numbers, and then just fucking watch the deadlifts and help out if your adductor's gone. But yeah, Um, but I really think and this is, this is the thing at Coaches Congress, British Weightlifting are there. They've got us vendors stand there to try to get people. Have you, Adam? Have you ever put one on? I'm assuming you have from the fact that you brought it up. Awesome, nice one. So on the, which course was it? The British Powerlifting, the second one that I went on. We coached. We got to learn how to coach Equipped as well. And Equipped is a fucking another thing. It's another fucking game. And again, even for me, it's too niche. I'm not in the habit of coaching Equipped lifters. But if you ever want to add, Grant, if you ever want to add 220 pounds to your back squat instantly, go Equipped. Because you won't be able to do an air squat in a squat suit. You physically cannot do a squat in a squat suit. You've got to have a certain amount of weight pushing down on you. They're pretty cool. And the bench shirts are fucking insane. 5 AM not allowed in my category, non-equipped. Okay, cool. Yeah. But yeah, try Equipped. It's quite the spectacle to see. But yeah, all good. So that was one thing I wanted to talk about because you can be a generalist coach. We are, by definition, if you're a CrossFit coach or trainer, you are a generalist coach. You're coaching people to be really good generalists. But my point is that it will do you no harm, and actually it can add to your bow. It'll be a feather in your cap if you can do a speciality course. Because ask coaches that have begun coaching since 2020, how many of them have been on the speciality courses? So Grant, knee wraps are classed as illegal. Knee sleeves aren't. So a sleeve is when it's one bit of kit that you slide up. And it has to be less than 7 mil. I think it is 7 mil or thickness or narrower. Anything thicker is classed as a rigor mortis and is too rigid. The wraps are when you get a wrap and you wrap it round and then you knot it. So it's when you'll get like a physical wrap, and you'll see the strong men wearing them sometimes for squats, and the equipped divisions of powerlifting use those. And again, you walk out like a robot, and it requires a massive load to even be able to bend your knee in the wraps. Yeah, so the wraps are illegal. You can't wear them in raw powerlifting. You can wear them in equipped. The sleeves are okay. But yeah, I think it's a nice way to test. Yeah, they had way too much. So I qualified for, what's the date today? We're blessed. We are blessed, Heidi. Hello. Thanks for joining us. Have you been on a run this morning? So I saw that the English weightlifting champs were happening in December, which I'm coaching at. And I actually got an email to say, hey, why don't you try qualifying? So I took 10 minutes. So the way that the online qualifiers work with Masters is exactly as you would with a CrossFit online qualifier. If you've ever done one of those, they're fun. You set up the camera. Now you have to weigh in. So you have to show the scales. You have to show yourself before and on and off. It's like a virtual event, basically. Now you've got 3 hours. You have to have a time-stamped video. You got 3 hours to weigh in and then do your 3 attempts at snatch, 3 attempts at clean and jerk. I did the weigh-in and all 3 of each in 14 minutes. And the reason for that is because I knew what weights I needed to hit to qualify, have a qualifying total. So I just hit the numbers I needed to and then went for it. That is a fantastic question. Oh, good. Well, hope they're good. You don't need to go into it on here, but when everything's good, Grant, you let us know. But yeah, so back to the point. I hit the qualifying total for the English Masters Champs for weightlifting in December, but only problem is my wife will be 37 weeks pregnant, and it's across, and I'd have to get a ferry, and I'd have to go away. So, that's that. But yeah, so I've qualified for the English weightlifting champs. I've got a high rocks in 4 weeks with Yoni Boy. Watch, look, if I say the word Yoni Boy in the next 3 minutes, he will appear. The reason Grant's not telling us is because he's making a copious amount of memes with it. He's been planning this for months. So it's the filming day today for all of the memes. Yeah, congratulations, Grant. Yeah, I've done quite a bit of running, actually. Do you know what I'm really annoyed at, Grant? The fucking Strava app. It is absolutely dog shit. So Mason, quite rightly, didn't believe my times on the ski erg or the machines. So I got the erg data app downloaded on my phone, and I had it years ago. I just got bored of fucking linking it up. And it believes me now. But the thing is, the erg data app works, but then when it syncs up to Strava, it obliterates all the data, and it looks shit. It looks terrible. It can't figure out the intervals of this, that, and the other. It aggravates it and fucking... No, actually, Adam, I biked this morning. I did the C2 bike, the cheat bike. I hate using it. Feels awkward not actually... yeah, it did my head in. You know what I mean? It was, so I did some deadlift triples, did 5 triples. Then I did some hip thrusts. I did some lat pull downs. And then I did 4 lots of 8 minutes on the bike with 2-minute rest. So it's 38 minutes from start to finish. 8-minute work, 2-minute rest, 4 rounds on the C2 bike. Minimum requirement of 4,000 meters in the 8 minutes. So I think I started at 4,100 and I ended up on about 4,500 on the last interval. But yeah, that was all right. My favorite, Adam, is the ski erg. And the reason that I got, do you know the reason I got really good at the ski erg? Well, I say really good for a CrossFitter. For an average CrossFitter, for an average 40-year-old CrossFitter, I got quite good. See that, Adam? Have a good one. Was when my knees got completely fucked the first time. I had to have a bit of kit that wouldn't ruin them, wouldn't aggravate them. And the rower really fucking aggravates them. So I had a ski erg at my house. And yeah, I just absolutely fucking pounded the ski erg. It was the one machine that I could really go hard on. Hard on. He said hard on. And I got really good at it. And I've got a lot of upper body power from powerlifting. So the lats and the triceps work a treat. So, and I'm heavy. So the fucking machine of dreams for me is the ski erg. Yeah, I did a 10K on Monday. No. Sunday. I did a 10K ski erg on Sunday. Yesterday, I rode. What the fuck did I do? Oh, I did intervals yesterday. I did 90-90. So 90 seconds of work, 90-second rest, 12 intervals yesterday on the ski erg. Today I did 8x4. 8 minutes by 4 rounds on the bike. The day before that, I rode. I did 12 intervals of 500 meters on the rower. The day before that, on Saturday, was the 10K ski. I got my running as well. I ran on Sunday evening, and I got running tomorrow as well. Thing is, Strava works absolutely fine going from my watch. It's as soon as I've added in erg data. So like, I'll show you what I mean. It might be mirrored, but that's the erg data from this morning. So you can see it's 16,781 meters total. Average pace is 154, 4 intervals, average power 234. And then I go into fucking Strava. Same workout. I didn't plot into Strava. It was automatically went through from the day erg data. And it's all over the show. It says like 12K, 27 minutes working time, average power 194. Like, it's all over the show. I didn't do 12K. I did 16 and a half. And it's all over the show. And it even says it on the picture. And then underneath, it's all weird. What a load of shit. So it's Strava's fault. I'm going to see to that. Awesome. Good work. So yeah, I did five triples on deadlift. I think I was at 175 kilo. Hip thrusts, lat pull downs, and then the bike. It took me an hour and a half. It's very, at the moment, I've upped my volume, but Jon wants me to run more, and I just said, bleh. Yeah, well, we connected. Yeah, bullshit. But the thing is, I moved away from all these fucking apps and straps and fucking all this shit. I like being able to just do it for performance and knowing how well I've done simply from me and how you know, when I test myself. I don't really do well with all these fucking gizmos and gadgets, which was one of the last things I want to talk about. Fucking, I am so warm in this room. I want to talk about aesthetics in CrossFit, right? That's just completely coincidental, by the way, that I'm taking my jumper off now. That's what reminded me of it. Aesthetics in CrossFit is a big deal. Although it isn't. Now, reason I'm saying this, here we go. Reason I'm saying this is because I've got clients, I've got people in classes that I work with, I've got people I talk to online, I've got many people, and something triggered it the last couple of days. And I'm not gonna go into people's private lives. I'm not gonna mention names or anything like that. But I know a minimum of 5 people that I know personally that are using GLP-1s. One of them definitely needed it. Definitely needed the assist. Sorry, six people. The other 5, and I hate passing judgment. I hate passing judgment on people. But the other 5, it sort of disappointed me that they're using it. And you know, like I said earlier, their body, it's their choice. You can do whatever the fuck you want to your body, but you have to deal with the consequences yourself. If you decide to do something to your body, good or bad, you get to live with the consequences. It shouldn't be a burden on other people what you do to your body. That's my only rule on that kind of shit. Or not rule, my opinion on it. Now, the only reason 5 of the 6 people have jumped on it, I know, is aesthetics. It is the only reason. Now, I'm not saying it's wrong because everyone has the right to do whatever the fuck they want. It's their body. I'm not saying, it's just my opinion on this. The reason I'm disappointed is because I thought we were past the point of having it a necessity for people to have abs and for being lean to the degree where it doesn't look normal. I thought we were past that. And then you've got the whole thing of, I think they could have done the work without the use of them. And again, and Grant, you hit the nail on the head, right? The one person that is on that list that needed it, the jumpstart, is a relative of mine. He's my mum's cousin, so is that second cousin, I think. He was housebound for a year. He could not get out of bed. He had food delivered to him, and he was in a real dark spot. If he carried on the way he was going to be dead within a few years. He refused medical treatment from the NHS, so the National Health Service. He felt himself a burden. He knew he'd done it to himself, and he didn't go on any medication. He was just eating himself to death. He got convinced by his sister, my other second cousin, to give these a go. He's been on them now for 2.5 months, and he has lost 5 stone. He was putting on weight. That stopped, and he's actually lost over 5 stone in 2.5 months. He's now able to walk around the house unassisted. Now, that's a fucking win. That's the poster child for this kind of thing, right? I had to use that reprieve to learn good habits to deal with anxiety. Yeah. So, and again, I've talked about this about my dad in recent months. I use him as an example because I can. He's given me permission to. He's got severe psychiatric issues over the last few years. And he's been put on a lot of medication for it. And all along, how much does a stone weigh? That's a good shout. Depends on the size of the stone. He knew that the medication that he was on, the anti-psych medication and the serotonin stuff and all those kind of things, they were to give him an opportunity to settle, to address his behaviors, and to try to go through therapy and to resolve them. In my humble opinion, and that's all it is, an opinion, is that a lot of the medications that we're dishing out should be used in the same way. So the GLPs, they're designed for what they are designed for. And for many people that really, truly need it, They give people the opportunity, and let's talk about it from a weight perspective, to drop the body weight by switching off this, to allow them the chance to address themselves, give them the opportunity to become accountable to some degree. If there is any trauma that needs addressing with proper therapy and other means, not medication, to have honest conversations with people and people around them and themselves, and to gradually understand the path forward away from medication. For me, that's what these GLPs are all about and how they should be used, just like all the other medications. And the issue that I have is that a lot of the people that I see using them at the moment, anyway, not everyone, a lot of them, they're doing it for quick, short-term aesthetic gains rather than the intended use that I've just outlined. I'll come to your question in a bit, Sean. We'll pull that up. When you go on a medication that you don't know the full spectrum of health related issues that come with it, purely to address the way that you look, not your health, not your performance. People are doing it predominantly for the way that they look in the short-term gain. That is a dangerous path, in my opinion. Right. So I'm 29, Jake. Do you not think I should care about aesthetics when it comes to my body being a canvas? Yeah, I do. I do think aesthetics play a part, and I care about the way that I look. The reason I've got fucking tattoos is because I like the way that they look. I like the way that the image it gives me. I hate the fact that I haven't shaved yet, but I'm shaving it tomorrow morning because I know that the amount of days it gives me for Coaches Congress. I'm cutting my hair this afternoon. I care about my look. I care about my image because I know what it represents. It shows people that I've worked hard, or I've at least given a shit about being presentable and the way that I am. But it doesn't necessarily define me. And when it comes to our bodies representing the way that I live my life as the body functions, great. Compare Andrea Agar to Laura Horvath body type. Who has arguably worked harder in the gym, has done more for their nutrition, and can perform better in sport? That's one example. And it's a really slippery slope when we start to apply body fat percentages to health. And again, I'm very aware here that there's two extreme viewpoints on this. And I will do my best to say why I'm somewhere down the middle. I'm not on the team of full-on body positivity and that you can be fit when you're morbidly obese. You can be fit, but you're not going to be anywhere near your fittest. And on the other end of the spectrum, the people that are saying that you should be mega lean, men need to be 7% body fat, women 15, I don't think that that's a demonstrator of health either, or fitness. There's a lot more to it than that. So my point is if you are a fucking stud muffin, right, and you're 29 and you are 7% body fat and you can snatch 120 kilos, you can run a 5K sub 20, you've got a 2-minute Fran time, your blood markers are all good, your cholesterol levels are where they should be, arguably. You're really hydrated, your bone density is on point, your blood levels, your blood platelet levels are good, everything is on point. Awesome. But what I'm saying is you don't have to be 7% body fat for that to be applicable. You could probably be 15% and be just as healthy. And it's a real slippery slope when we start to idolize lean people as the healthiest. And the people that are using GLP-1s in order to simply get leaner for photos so that they can blag their way for people to think they're healthy, all that's doing is feeding into this idea that leaner is healthier. And people on GLPs that are going to be losing this mass and not traded, not eating enough protein, unaware of the side effects, getting that gaunt face that don't need to be on it. That's not health, man. That's ill health. That's sickness. And it's a really tricky ground to tread. But with the caveat at the beginning of this was it's your body and they're your consequences. Just like guys that go on anabolics. It's your body, your consequence. Whatever happens, happens. That's on you. Own it. Don't blame the system. Don't blame, and this is a really fucking annoying one for me, don't blame societal norms. Don't blame social media for making you feel like you should look a certain way. Don't give it that power. And the way that we can do that is just get knowledgeable about what health is. And is health a body fat percentage? It's different for everyone. Um, um, I would never copyright you, Jeffrey. Treating how to suit your life is fine, but you can't say carry more fat is better than the average. Yeah, and this is the thing as well, Sean. Your average person. So we live in our own little fucking bubble, don't we? We like I was saying this the other day at to my mum actually was I never see people smoking, and I don't ever see anyone having a cigarette. I don't ever see people gorging out on loads of food, like on cakes and stuff. I'm only ever around. I live and breathe the gym. I'm very, very boring. I very rarely go out. And I went out on Saturday for a few hours. And I was like, I remembered we aren't normal. But when you're around other people, you're only ever around people that are going after it and getting fit and healthy and taking care of themselves and really working hard. It's really easy to forget that we aren't normal. So when you say your average person, yes, you're right. You are right. Your average person probably does need to lose a percentage of body fat. But what I'm asking here, what number is that? Is there a number that we want to get to? And how you get to that number is just as important as getting there. Six pack, he feels the way he, yeah. And again, cut down on his diet so he wants to normally. Yeah. And again, Sean, you're absolutely right there. And there's a common thread, there's a common theme with all of this. And it's people not taking accountability and ownership of their decisions, right? I put on weight over the summer, not the summer, yeah, the summer months. So June, July, August, because I was competing in powerlifting. And I needed to fuel very, very differently to get my numbers up. And then I went on a cut. If you looked at me at the end of August, I was probably sat at about 23% body fat. Now I'm 7 kilos lighter. I'm at 90.5 kilos, down from 97.5. And I'm probably somewhere about 14% body fat because I'm training very differently. So, but I own that. If someone would have said to me in August, you look like you put on a bit of fat, boy, I'd have said, yeah, I have. And it's for a purpose, but I know it's not optimal. I know it's not healthy. I know it's not what I should be doing, but I'm doing it for my sport. It's not health. I'm putting on body fat. Now I'm building towards the high rocks, and I know that I've probably lost a bit of strength. And people might say, well, your strength's down, so therefore you're not as fit. But I'm saying, well, I'm specializing now, more specializing towards cycling for the high rocks. So my body image is going to change. Now I've got a lot leaner in the last 4.5 weeks since I competed. Does that mean I've got healthier because I've got leaner? I'm less strong. So the issue here is that we've been told that let's face it, the last 40 years, probably the magazines, the magazines with all the men's health and the flex and the fucking whatever the other one was, I can't remember, men's health, muscle and fitness, flex magazines. It was all your bodybuilders. It was all your lead. They did their 2 weeks worth of photo shoots around competition time. And then they were off season for 9 months. And they didn't look anything like they did in the magazines. And they just cycle those pictures through there. Now, if your goal is purely health, and this is what I'm getting to here, right? If your goal is purely health, you've got to define health for yourself, because CrossFit did it with our continuum: sickness, wellness, fitness. We say that fitness is health. What does that look like physically? Is there a physical representation of that aesthetically, do you think? But Sean, how did you say you're 29, by the way? And are you an endurance athlete? Because I think pictures, obviously, I'm pretty sure you said you were doing a triathlon or an Ironman or something. But you have to think as well, people at completely different points in their life. And we've seen it so many times. I mean, I'm 40. I've been working in this industry for well over 20 years. I've been training since I was 13. I've been in the gym for 27 years. And I've seen people come and go. I've got bodybuilder mates who are constantly well below 7% body fat all year round now because of the medication they're on and their dieting. I know ultra marathon runners who can't bench press 5 kilo dumbbells, 10, 11 pound dumbbells, whatever they are, 12 pound. My own thoughts on this are that you've got to define your own version of health. Now, we have got that with CrossFit. We know what that looks like in terms of numbers. and performance is related to health. But I don't think we've ever defined it by aesthetics. But intrinsically, we know, don't we? We know that someone that's 50% body fat probably isn't as healthy as someone that's 10% body fat. Probably. More often than not. But where do you draw the line? Where is that line for you? If my goal is to compete in a 93 kilo powerlifting competition and lift the heaviest I can, if I'm below the 93 kilo cutoff and I lift my heaviest I can, I've done the job. I've done my job. Is that health? And that was what I've been trying to pick apart over the last sort of month or so about CrossFit athletes at the games level. They're doing everything they need to do to perform at the highest standard for CrossFit. Does that mean they're the healthiest? The continuum would argue yes. But the body fat thing, I'm not. My experience would lean me towards the average person needs to lose some body fat. But then if you told me what percentage, I wouldn't have a clue. I wouldn't want to tell you what number that would be for you as an individual, because people look very different at different percentages of body fat. You could have two people at 15% body fat and they would look completely different from one another. So to look at the person that doesn't look better with 15%, you would argue, all right, you got to lose some more. So what percentage is it for them? Who knows? Is it 12? Do you keep going until they look good for you? I don't know. I truly don't know the answer to that. I don't think there is a binary number to go by. Yeah. So, and the thing is, Sean, like, if you stopped running 100 kilometers a week and you did more weight training, you'd probably get stronger, I would have thought, because you're specializing in it. And this is it. Different strokes for different folks, right? Well-being, performance, aesthetics. Well-being, performance, aesthetics. They're the three factors that you can work into why you train, like why you go to the gym. And with CrossFit, we try and do all three. We're trying to do all three. We're trying to feel really good about ourselves and we're trying to be healthy. We get our blood markers done and we're told we are really superhuman. That's the well-being. The performance, we test, we are accountable. We go as quick as we can, as heavy as we can, as far as we can. And then we want to look good. We want to look good naked. Because ultimately, if people walk in a gym and they argue they don't want to look good, they're probably lying to some degree. People want to look better. That's our trophy for having worked hard and performing well. But it isn't everything. It isn't everything. The looks part, the aesthetics isn't everything. And the original point I raised was, if you're only taking GLPs to look better, you've completely missed the point of them. If you're someone that is let's say a woman's at 25% body fat and she jumps on GLPs to get down to 15% body fat, is that a good thing? But then what? What does she do then? She gets down to 15. Is that enough for her? Is it affordable? When she needs to come off it, she promised herself she'd come off it when she got down to 15%. She gets down to 15%. Voice comes back on in her head. Hormones regulate again. And she eats. And then she's back up to 25. Maybe 26 this time. So what's changed? Other than an obsession with aesthetics. My take on all of this, and again, it's just my opinion. My take on this is we are CrossFitters. We associate health with performance. So we aim to perform. And guess what? The base of that pyramid is nutrition. If you want to perform better, you fucking eat better. And if you eat better and you performing better, guess what? You're probably, and here's the word of the day, serendipity. The serendipitous effect is that you're going to end up looking better. But for the majority of people, you shouldn't train just or take medication just to look better. If you address the other factors, you will look better. If you purely go after looking better, the other two won't get better necessarily, because you can just take a jab to get smaller and leaner. And then what? Not since then, Sean, but I have gone back on creatine after my powerlifting comp to help recover for the fucking amount of machine work I'm doing and running. But yeah, and again, like, creatine's another one. I remember being, how old would I have been? 15, because it was millennium. I'd have been 15, and my mum found a pot of creatine in the kitchen cupboard, and her and my dad sat me down and told me I don't need to be on this, I shouldn't be on it, it's steroids, blah, but the cliche shit. 25 years later, guess which two people take creatine every morning? My mum and dad. Opinions change. They evolve over time. And this is exactly why you should not hold people in your mind to their opinions. It shouldn't completely blackwash someone and slap a label on them because of an opinion they have. Because if you do that long term, you're not going to have any friends and you're not going to like anyone, and no one's going to like you, because it's good to change your opinion. It's good to have discourse. It's good to have debates. It's good to have difference of opinion, but it's even better to listen and to learn about other people's opinions. You might not end up agreeing with them, but at least you've given them the chance to talk to you and you've learned something. You've learned why they talk the way they do and have that opinion. That's what it's all about. Now, my parents, 25 years after having told me in the kitchen, this is out of my house, it's steroids. I'm now able to say, well, I won't say told you so, but they know, they remember that conversation. And 25 years later, they're taking it for the cognitive benefits. The most tested and researched supplement on earth. And it's really fucking good for you. Good, isn't it? Anyway. Sevon is, it's loads of time still. It's only 1:45. I've got loads of coaching, loads of work to do today, which I'm really looking forward to. Got prep for the weekend, which is fun. I remember having to go get someone to go into Holland and Barrett 15. Oh, fucking, was that the not Nitro Tech? Fucking hell, was it Nitro Tech? The Muscle Tech creatine. Was it Nitro Tech? I'm sure it was. All those fucking sugared up supplements. What was wrong with monohydrate? For a little while, I took ethyl ester. That was pretty good. That worked quite well. It's quite strong though. I think monohydrate, you can't go wrong, can you? It's so cheap as well. So winter months are coming up. Monohydrate, vitamin D, fucking all your male vitamins. What was that other one? Testralis. There's another one that Holland and Barrett used to do on their 1p offers. Anyway, I'm getting into the weeds here. Thank you for joining me, everyone. It's been a glorious discussion, and I hope that we can continue this conversation for the foreseeable. I need to do another conversation with ChatGPT about all this stuff. I'll find a very niche. Oh, shall I ask it about body fat? Career Pure. Yeah. I might ask it about yeah, I will do, Jodie. I will do. Look up Andrew Huberman, look at his stuff on creatine. And what's her name? Fucking one that goes on Rogan is part of the CrossFit medical thing. Forgotten a fucking name. Dr. Someone will know. What's her name? Anyway, never mind. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Have a lovely day. Enjoy life. Get after it. Do your workouts. Go hug someone. I won't, but you do it. You love hugging. Have a lovely day. Thanks for joining me. And I will see you all another time. Maybe Thursday morning. Lovely. Bye-bye.